This story has been taken from Tafsir Ibn Kathir and has been reviewed for authenticity by Luqmay's Shariah Advisory Board.
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل.
Sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of affairs. Chapter 1. Azar crafts Nana, the moon god. In the ancient city of Azar, a devoted idol sculptor was busy at work. The Euphrates River flowed close by, humming musically in the background to the soft hammering of Azar's tools. Around him, a variety of statues could be seen, some made of wood, while some were made of stone. The people of prayed to the sun, stars, and even the moon, and also made idols to represent them. Today, Azar was working on a very special idol. It was Nana, the moon god of He was believed to be their protector, guider, and provider of wisdom. Azar molded a sturdy piece of limestone in the shape of a bull to create Nana's robust body. Next, he carefully sanded a piece of shiny metal in the shape of a crescent to place on the statue's head to represent the moon. He was just beginning to select some precious, brilliant blue stones to decorate the statue's beard when he heard footsteps approaching. A group of priests of had stopped to visit. Azar left his work immediately and stood up in respect to greet the guests. "Azar, you have made a fine idol indeed. King Nimrod will be very pleased," the chief priest said, eyeing Azar's work in appreciation. Azar's face broke into a proud smile on hearing the name of the king, who was also a devout moon worshipper. "We shall place this statue inside the ziggurat," said another. The ziggurat was the grand temple at "May Nana accept our offering and protect us from the floods of the Euphrates River," the chief priest prayed, his head bowed low, hands folded in devoted submission. "May Nana keep us safe," Azar repeated in humble submission. He clasped his hands in excitement at the thought of the idol made from his very own hands to be offered as a gift to Nana. As the visitors left, the face of a young man popped in Azar's mind, dampening his spirits immediately. A young man's insistent questioning echoed in Azar's head. The person was none other than Azar's very own son, Ibrahim, peace be upon him. "Why do you worship something that cannot hear you? This thing cannot see you." Ibrahim's voice boomed in his head. "Bah!" Azar grumbled. Shaking off the uninvited voices from his mind, he got back to work with renewed energy. Chapter 2. My Dearest Father. Azar tentatively wiped some dust from an idol's arms before kneeling and praying in front of it. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, watched worriedly as his father bowed before the idol. "Oh, my dearest father, why do you worship something that cannot benefit you in any way?" he asked politely. Azar jerked up from his kneeling position, staring at his son in wrathful disbelief. "I am your father. I know everything. I know better," Azar cried out in fury, a vein bulging on the side of his face in anger. His own child behaving as if he was smarter than him was a blow to his pride. His own child trying to prove him wrong was too much to swallow. Children can't be smarter than adults, can they? They most definitely can. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was a wise man whose eyes, heart, and soul had seen that Allah was the only God. "Please don't worship Satan. Satan is a disobeyer of Allah the Merciful. If you follow him, I fear you and your people will all end up in hellfire as a grave punishment." This was too much for Azar to take. He just couldn't believe his ears. To not just question his own father, but also announce a punishment. His face turned purple in fury. With eyes popping out in blinding anger, he scooped up a handful of stones and cried out, "How dare you reject our gods?" Azar thundered in rage. "Stop this, or else I will stone you! Keep out of my way," he threatened, holding his fist high in the air, ready to fire a volley of stones. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was a true believer, and this was the test of his patience. True believers do not react to anger with anger. They do not answer back and shout disrespectful words. Instead, they answer calmly and sensibly. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, did not, even for a moment, forget that standing in front of him, ready to attack him, was none other but his own father. "May peace be upon you. I shall pray for you and beg my God to forgive you. For now, I will leave you and the idols you pray to," he said instead, showing his father that he would never insult him back. Azar watched as his son walked away. For the umpteenth time, he thought to himself why Ibrahim, peace be upon him, couldn't just follow the practice of his forefathers, without asking any questions, just like he had. Chapter 4. This Can't Be My Lord. Cold, chilly night had blanketed the city of The brilliant sky was illuminated with specks of tiny, glittering stars. It was a beautiful night for most people who were resting peacefully with dreams of a secure future after their sacrifices and gifts for Nana. Except for Azar, whose mind was too disturbed for slumber. He gripped his head with his fingers, shoulders hunched as if a mountain had been placed on them. Some of Azar's friends sat around him, trying, unsuccessfully, to cheer him up. "Hang in there, Azar. Your son's young, and rebellion's common for this age. He'll come around," consoled one, throwing his arms around the anxious man. Azar knew the matter was much graver. "He says we've all gone astray," he exclaimed in agitation. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was close by and overheard the entire conversation. It dawned on him that this was a rare chance to talk to his father and his people at the same time. Making sure the men could hear him, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, wondered out loud. "Could this star perhaps be my Lord?" Ibrahim's peace be upon him booming voice caught the people's attention. They looked at each other in excitement. Was Ibrahim ready to consider the star as God? But as the glittering star disappeared from sight, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, loudly rejected the idea. "I do not like things that hide away," he declared, leaving the overhearing men around him flabbergasted. Turning his attention towards the rising moon, he went on to ponder, "Is this magnificent moon my Lord?" As Ibrahim, peace be upon him, gazed at the tranquil sky, the moon shone as bright as a diamond. But the spectacle was short-lived, and it wasn't long before the moon set too, disappearing from the sight of the fascinated onlookers. Had Allah not guided me, I too would have been misguided into worshipping the moon, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, concluded, making his point successfully. The people were shocked and outraged at this unexpected monologue, but Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was adamant to get them to see the truth. The next morning, when the sun shone bright and mighty, he delivered the final blow. "This is the biggest of them all. This is surely, perhaps, my Lord," he announced excitedly, knowing fully well that the sun would set in a few hours. And very soon the sun set for the day, splashing streaks of amber and burnt orange across the horizon. By this time, a crowd had gathered to hear what this young man was up to. News of his loud ponderings had spread around the town. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was waiting for this moment. To all those who were within earshot of hearing what he had to say, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, preached wholeheartedly. "My people, everything that you worship besides Allah, I disown it. I have surrendered myself to the Lord, who is one and only Allah. He is the ultimate creator of the sun, the moon, the stars. I can never, ever be a polytheist. Ibrahim's, peace be upon him, declaration of the oneness of Allah was punctuated with a loud murmur of horrified gasps from the audience. What are these lifeless objects that you are so devoted to? Why? Why do you bow before them? He asked, demanding an explanation. We don't know why. We just do what we've seen our fathers do, the crowd murmured, a confused response. You and your fathers have clearly gotten on the wrong path, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, explained. Are you joking with us? They gasped in bewilderment. In fact, your true Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. He who created them, instructed Ibrahim, peace be upon him. They clicked their tongues in amazement and looked at each other. Our gods will be so unhappy. The wrath of Nana will be upon you. Your future is doomed. Be very afraid, Ibrahim. Be very afraid. You have dared to mock the practice of our forefathers, and even our Royal Highness King Nimrod, they threatened ominously. I am not afraid. I prostrate before my Lord Allah, and He grants me protection like none other. It is you who should be afraid of associating partners with Him, warned Ibrahim, much to the shock of the people. By God, when you won't be looking, I will plot against your idols, challenged Ibrahim outrageously. A hush fell over the crowd of listeners, some contemplative, some furious. What catastrophe had Ibrahim brought upon himself? Chapter 5. Execution of the Plan. The luminous moon shone in the sky. Spring season was officially about to begin, and the people of Ur were ready to celebrate its arrival. The banks of the Euphrates were decorated with a number of boats, laden with sacrificial offerings for the gods. A royal banquet had been organized by King Nimrod himself to honor Nana so that the new season's crops grew in abundance. Everyone from Ur was there to pay homage to the gods. Well, almost everyone. With the entrance of the ziggurat left unguarded, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, walked in the home of the gods armed with a hammer. The sight in front of his eyes showed the ignorant and insensible beliefs of his people. A feast for a king was laid out in front of the idols. Succulent figs, ripe dates, fresh olives, juicy grapes, tantalizing meat, and yet it all lay there untouched, not even a morsel eaten by the idols. What is wrong with you? Do you not eat? Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, asked, mocking the idols. What's the matter? Why do you not speak? He asked, taunting the lifeless beings to respond. The statues of stone and metal did nothing but stare back in silence. And with that, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, raised the hammer in his right arm and hurled it at the idols with all his might. Crash! The idols crumbled to the floor in a million pieces. Leaving the hammer on the biggest idol as if it was holding it, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, left the temple before the people returned. And what a shock they were in for. They stared at the broken bits and pieces of their holy deities and exclaimed in horror, "Who has done this to our gods?" they sobbed. "What a wicked thing to do," they moaned. Upon discussion, they remembered Ibrahim's open challenge. Very soon, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was brought in. An explanation demanded for the catastrophe at the temple. "Why, Ibrahim, are you responsible for this wicked act?" they demanded. "No," he replied, without breaking a sweat. "It was him, the biggest of them all," he said, pointing towards the god with the hammer. "Ask him, but can he speak?" he asked sarcastically. "You know very well they can't speak," they muttered, an embarrassed confession of their foolishness. "Shame on you! How can you be so senseless to worship them when they can't even speak? They can't even save themselves from harm. How in the world can they protect you? Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, asked burning questions the people of had no answers to. They were too cowardly to accept that their actions were wrong. "Burn him and avenge your gods," they shouted. With nothing wise to say in their defense, all they could do was use their might senselessly. The miracle unravels.
Dig, dig, dig. Dig with all your might. Dig the deepest pit for the mightiest fire. Dig, dig, dig.
And so the plotting of the meanest revenge. The people of set out to dig the deepest pit imaginable. People of all ages, young and old, sick and healthy, got busy in collecting piles and piles of wood to fuel the massive fire. "Oh, Nana, grant me health. I promise I will fetch an armload of wood for Ibrahim's fire if you make me better," vowed a sick woman. When she recovered from her sickness, she trudged up to the edges of the inflamed hole in the ground to fulfill her promise. As the flames grew stronger and wilder, it became impossible for anyone to get close to the pit without getting their faces scorched. How would they then take Ibrahim, peace be upon him, to the punishing pit? Hey kids, to listen to the rest of the story, subscribe at www.luqmay.com for $10 per month and unlock more videos of this story and much more. Link given in the description below.